Hi, welcome to Business Influencers. I'm your host, Chris Salem. Welcome here to the Touch of Life Foundation TALRadio platform. Again, here at the TALRadio platform, you can find many great podcasts around all types of content that can suit your needs, but you are here for business influence. And we are very thankful for the Touch of Life Foundation to think about us back when we started this podcast back almost 4 years ago. Yes, and the show continues to grow because of you, the listeners. So again, we want to thank the listeners that have been with us for the last almost 4 years, that we have now over 200 episodes into this show. And we want to welcome you, the new listeners. Not only can you listen to the show here at talradio.org, you could also listen to our show on Spotify, Apple, and also the video portion of this show on YouTube. So you have 4 choices to listen to the show. We highly encourage you to subscribe to all 4 as this show airs each and every week. We are all about influence, meaning that we cover different topics that will help you and your business influence the audiences that you choose to create more impact and provide more value for. Today's show is being brought to you today by Alumni Direct. Alumni Direct is a new social media community platform dedicated to bringing alumni together from all different generational types and an opportunity to meet new people for the first time. Now, it is a membership program taking out all the noise out of social media. You get to generate genuine and authentic relationships with the people you choose to interact with. So we have a great show for you today. We are talking about the new Q in business, the Adaptability Quotient. I love this thing. This is the age of adaptability, agility. I'm really looking forward to hearing from our subject matter expert here today, Dr. Carlos Davidovic. And Carlos is an extensive experience supporting the development of leaders and management teams alike of an international scale. He was raised and educated in Argentina. He has been living and working between Europe, USA, and Canada for over 20 years, where he has become an executive coach giving workshops and lectures on neuromanagement, applying neuroscience in organizations and businesses. Currently resides in Madrid, working with clients from all sorts of cultures around the world, and originally trained as a medical doctor in Argentina. He draws on his medical background and understanding the brain to apply neuromanagement coaching modalities that lead to evident and sustainable change for his clients. And over the course of his early career, he spent more than 20 years and gained management experience in business executive roles, working for multinational pharmaceutical companies in the area of biotechnology applied to human health. Now, he's a professor of neuromanagement in the MBA program at the University of New York in Prague, Czech Republic, at GEA and I don't know if I can even pronounce this, Ljubljana, Slovenia, at the Bucharest International School of Management, and thought leader with the Institute of Coaching at McLean Hospital, a Harvard Medical School affiliate. Now, I can keep going on and on. He's also a TED Talk speaker. He's also published great books, co-authoring The Personality DNA, Discover Your True Personality, and the list goes on. We'll have more of that information in the show notes for you with Dr. Carlos. And without further ado, we welcome Dr. Carlos Davidovic to the show. Dr. Carlos, how are you doing today?
Great, and thanks a lot for the invitation. I'm delighted to be here in your show.
We are so thankful for you to be here. Let's just start. We always like to start with, the backstory, the background of what we're going to talk about today, about the new Q in business. And this is about the Adaptability Quotient. And, let's talk a little bit about your backstory, what led up to this, and what you've been helping business leaders and organizations do, and why this is so important to adapt, especially in today's environment. If you could give us a little backstory to create the context, what you'll be sharing here with us.
Absolutely. I mean, today to talk about resilience is a cliche. So everybody knows that. Everybody knows that change is the only, let's say, constant in life. But we need to understand that our brain doesn't like that concept at all. The brain will try to resist any change just because it doesn't feel safe. So what I want, my specialty is to talk about how the brain works and to bring it to business. help us to understand a lot of context, like you said, that will also support us to make better business and more productive ones. Resilience is not enough to be resilient. It's great, don't get me wrong, but it's not enough. Today, there are more and more components that will create what we used to call a growth mindset. But growth mindset, resilience, adaptability to change, all we can package under the same term that I didn't create. It was created by Amit Toufani from the Singularity University. Maybe you heard about them. And he is a professor in finance, by the way. And he was talking about the IQ, or this kind of, I will say, the capability of understand, even though to foresee the change that are coming and to be prepared for that. So requires a completely different mindset that is absolutely achievable if you understand, I would say, the trend, and you accept that this is the place you need to be. I don't know if I'm explaining myself. I don't want to derail on this.
Wow, thank you for sharing that. And and it's so true. Like, resiliency is important, but there's got to be more to it if we're going to sustain this. To in this case, what you're going to talk about, adaptability. If we're going to adapt to this, these things that we can't control, and I always say you can never control other people and situations in itself. So we have to adapt. So I'd love to hear about, a little more now about, if you could share with the audience about the new Q in business and more about adaptability as a modality, so to speak, to really, help business leaders and leaders alike to elevate themselves.
We know, or we talk always about the IQ, so intellectual, let's say, quotient, about intelligence. So we need a minimum IQ to be able to do the work. So you need to have it. Then what became so popular and still is the EQ. So the emotional quotient. Yeah. And this is about how we connect and relate with each other. Don't get me wrong. This still is very, very, very important in a business world. The EQ is bringing a different, I would say, perspective. If you read, let's say, business Harvard School, a school of business, and they are different, McKinsey, they are different, Deloitte, they already understood that the only one that will take you to future success is the AQ, the adaptability quotient. Again, you need a minimum intelligence to do the work. You need to connect with people in a, I would say, healthy way to be able to work. But the one that will take you to the right place and will keep you alive, if you let me to use that word, is the AQ, the adaptability quotient. And that has different characteristics. I love another quote from Toufani that he says, don't let that your past success will interfere in your future success. And this, what he's talking about is we always, and this is the way that the brain works, don't get me wrong, we try to apply whatever was useful to us in the past. In life in general, and in business in particular, that is just partially effective. If it's something that we need to be aware of, is that, first of all, to remember that we live in a VUCA world, you know about that. So, a world that is changing all the time, is unpredictable, is volatile, is absolutely uncertain. Those four characteristics that, again, the brain doesn't like at all. The brain needs certainty. Uncertainty for the brain is the worst enemy, is kryptonite. And what the brain does.
Oh, that's what a lot of people have been dealing with this year, right?
And this is a daily food. It's uncertainty. Remember, okay, I don't want to bring that let's leave it on the past. But the pandemic, the worst component of the pandemic, don't get me wrong, many people died because of that. But the main impact was uncertainty. So the negative main impact was that people didn't know what's going to happen. People didn't know it's going to stop next week, next month, next year. That is what put really people down or make people sensitive to the virus even. So this kind of not to be able to predict. The brain is a machine, is a prediction machine, predictive machine. The brain is all the time creating potential futures. The brain doesn't care that those futures will happen. The only thing that the brain cares about is to have a plan. And it doesn't have enough information to have a plan. What the brain does will create stories. So this characteristic of the brain is, I would say, the foundation of fake news, the foundation of conspiracy theory. So the brain doesn't care that the story is real, is true. The only thing that the brain cares about that makes sense. And then if you understand how the brain works in that direction, you can understand a lot of people's behavior in business. We always say, okay, let's try to be the next unicorn, that we will bring some business that will create a situation that will be outstanding. You know that is not so frequent. But many times, those unicorns are just in front of our eyes. And we don't see them for one reason, that we still think based on our past experiences. And we are not open enough to accept that, don't get me wrong, we need our past experiences. Yes. But this is like a Lego. We need to organize
it. Doesn't like where it impacts our future decisions. Yeah, like in a way that holds us back. Yeah.
But never, absolutely never, you can apply your past experience in the same way. That is the rule.
Yeah.
So when I coach a lot of leaders, and I said, I honor your experience, people with a lot of experience. So bring it to the table when you face a challenge. My only recommendation is take into account that always will be a factor that you didn't experience yet. And if you don't see it up front, you will fail. So that's why we are very proud of our past successes in business, and then we want to repeat it again and again and again, just because we know how to do it. That is exactly the opposite of how the world is working today.
Yeah.
So we need to train our mind in a way that to look for those, I don't know how to call it differences, to call it opportunity, to call it glitches, something that it looks like it's wrong, but it's not wrong. You know what I mean? So what I'm trying to say is pay attention to what is different of the situation, not try to connect whatever happened in your business world with your past story, like they will match 100%. They will never match 100%. So if you accept this condition, then you will be more prepared to understand what is coming. So I always challenge my coaches saying, okay, what is your approach to whatever situation when we discuss some business situation? And they say, well, I will do A, B, and C. I say, okay, right now, tell me exactly the opposite solution. Not what you just told me. Tell me exactly what you will do in an opposite way of your first conclusion. And the first reaction is, wow, I don't know, because I'm already thinking in that way. And then they start, always the brain can see the two sides of the coin. You need to push the brain to do it.
I love that.
Tell me if it's okay the way I'm going.
100%. The way I registered that is, the way I said is that you can't always see it from the way you think it should be. We have to sometimes see it for what it is, and adapt to that. Yeah.
Look for the weird thing in the system.
Yes.
Look for something that maybe you don't look for, what you don't understand of the current scenario. Remember that I don't know, they say that was Einstein. I really cannot see, because sometimes the same quote, they say that many people say it, the quote about that the most insane thing is to expect a different result when we're still thinking in the same way. And that applies to this as well. So challenge your team to bring different perspectives I don't care if it's the right one. Always bringing different perspective means to push the brain to think differently. And I will now bring the key component of AQ. That is something that sounds so simple, and I tell you, in my workshops around AQ is the most difficult thing for people. The key successful factor of a high AQ, high adaptability quotient, is the capacity to unlearn.
Yeah.
And I know, Chris, you're listening to me and say, wow, that is easy.
No, I think that I can relate to that 100%. Just even my own journey many years ago, I had to unlearn so many things to create space to do things that were foreign to me. And even, if you asked me from my perspective, I said, I don't see this working. I don't know why I'm even considering this. And yet I did, and it changed my life.
Love it, Chris, love it. So I know that we are focusing on business, but this is life in general.
It could be anything, Dr. Cross. Don't feel like you have to limit it to just business, because life influences our business, business influences our life.
The mindset that we have influences whatever we do in life, and mainly in business. So remember, and it's not the time maybe, and it's an all quote of Henry Ford. Remember when he invented the car, the first car. Remember about it, it's a traditional saying. He said, did you ask the public, your clients, what they wanted? And he said, if I would have asked them about what they want from me, they would have said fastest horses. So it's the only thing they knew. They were not able to think about the car. So this is the time.
He came out with the Mustang. No, I'm kidding.
So what I mean, exactly, that's a good one. That's a good one, Chris. So what I'm trying to say is, again, it's not about to reinvent the wheel. It's about to understand that the wheel maybe can be applied in a different way. So we need to differentiate in the brain two different characteristics: creativity and innovation. They are not the same, even though they complement each other, don't get me wrong. But the best example I always like to bring is, of course, Apple. I mean, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak. Wozniak was the creative one. He created a new computer, whatever. But Steve Jobs was the innovative one. So he knew how to make business from that. And he didn't create a thing. He was able just to think differently about the same thing. And this is the important thing. Many times, the great opportunity is right there. Just play to think how to see it in a different way, the same thing. That will open different places in your brain. And going back to the concept of unlearning, and you brought a personal experience, normally for people it's very difficult to let things go. So, hey, you already applied this, didn't work. What about if we change that? No, this is the way, let's try again and let's try again. So this is what I know. And what is the biggest limitation or barrier? Why we don't want to unlearn? Because there is a basic mistake. We connect what we know, so the experiences, studies, we connected with our identity. This is who I am. If I need to unlearn something, wow, that will affect my identity. Then I will not know who am I. Makes sense what I'm saying, and I don't want to become philosophical here. What I want to say is, train yourself that unlearning will be the key characteristic of your behavior. In that moment, it's like to take away a veil, and then you will start seeing your business, your competitor business, and the opportunity of the market in a completely different way.
Wow. I love that. So powerful. And we hope listeners that you're taking notes. It's a shift in the way what Dr. Carlos just talked. And I can relate to that, my personally going through something, really pretty much what he's sharing, what I did several years ago. And I'll tell you, it was a game changer for sure. I love what you just shared. What would be some, if somebody's listening, the people that are listening right now, Dr. Carlos, and those that will be listening later, now that they're hearing, now they're aware of that, what would be that first step that you would suggest somebody that is going to now, really adopt this new Q, the EQ in business, and really embrace this adaptability quotient?
Organize a meeting with your team, the direct reports, and challenge them to arrive to different conclusions regarding the product that you are selling. What else my product can do in the market that is not doing today? Stop building marketing campaign around the same thing. Think absolutely different. And again, and do it as a game. Start and having fun and make it fun. This needs to bring humor. How your product can be seen in a completely different way. What else is able to do your product in the market? So start playing with that, and in one moment you will start seeing new opportunities from your product. Stop building upon the first assumption of what your product can do. Make sense?
Makes sense. Yeah.
This is the first step, and then we can build from there. You know what I mean?
Take it from there. And with the time we have, please share, from there, what would be those next steps of the process? Do you know
who was the inventor of digital photography, digital camera? Do you know who invented?
Yeah. Well, God, after Kodak went out of business, right?
Exactly. Put Kodak out of the business. And I tell you, Chris, it's not just to put you on the spot.
Yeah. I can't even think now.
The person who invented the digital photography, digital camera, was a Kodak employee.
Oh my God.
And they told him, forget it. That will jeopardize our business.
Yes. And
sure
enough, he could have saved their business.
And another very nice anecdote was the meeting between the CEO of Netflix and the CEO of Blockbuster.
Yeah.
That was in, I think, 2010 or maybe before. No,
there was a Blockbuster everywhere, and then all of a sudden, gone.
Yeah, but Hartfield, that was the CEO of Netflix, went to see him. Went to see this guy in 2000. So 25 years ago, he went to see this guy and told him, hey, let's make a business together. Let's do a joint venture. You are in charge of all the stores and I'm in charge of the online things.
Yeah.
What was the response of Blockbuster's CEO?
Said no.
The story says, the legend says, he started laughing at Hartfield and said, what are you talking about? I'm opening a store every day. I don't need you.
Yeah.
And the rest story. You know what I mean? So another technique to start from, not to be dramatic. Number one is how we can use our product in a different way, and let's play with that. Number two, to really, really be mindful of what are the worst scenarios for your product. Why your product can fail in the market. If you start bringing that to the table, you can start opening different, I would say, pathways in the brain to start thinking differently. Because at the moment you know what can make your product fail, you will start learning what you need to unlearn to avoid that. Make sense?
It totally makes sense. This has just been powerful information, Dr. Carlos. We are definitely going to have you on another follow-up show here to Business Influencers. I also know you're going to be on another one of our shows, which we'll be able to talk a lot longer for that one, which we'll do a deeper dive into that. I just wanted to thank you personally for taking the time to be with us here, taking your time to be on the show. I'm going to thank you not only from myself, but from the rest of the team here at TALRadio and the Touch of Life Foundation. I would like the listeners to get to know you. How can they best get in contact with you? What are you up to, and what would you like to share with them before the conclusion of the show?
The best way and the fastest way is my website, www.carlosdavidovich.com. And of course, in LinkedIn, that's the main social media in business, you know that. I'm in Instagram, but the main one is LinkedIn. And you can find me there and look, Carlos Davidovich, neuromanagement or neuroscience, and you'll find me there very easily. And I always respond to any message that come to me because I love communication.
Yes. And we encourage everybody to take advantage and reaching out to Dr. Carlos on LinkedIn, also to his website and the contact information he gave you. We'll have that in the show notes as well, so that way you'll have that accessible. And we encourage you to learn more about this new Q in business, because adaptability is here to stay, and it's so, so important. And I know he's got more to share with you on this that can be personal to where you are and where you want to be. Thank you so much, Dr. Carlos, again. And
my pleasure. Thanks to you, Chris.
Oh, thank you. And listeners, we want to thank you each and every week joining us here at Business Influencers. Again, we are committed to bringing in subject matter experts like Dr. Carlos in to help elevate you and your business in terms of influence to the next level. If you'd like to see future content that we have not covered here on the show at this point, feel free to reach out to our team here at chris@christophersalem.com. Till then, everybody, have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next week at the same time. Take care.